Hello, Mario.
Hello, Abe. How are you?
Baruch Hashem. How are you doing?
Okay. Which
Good.
one is it? 65 today? Hmm?
65.
Mhm.
65. What is the shear after this one?
Which
Rough
one?
Cook. Rough Cook or something?
Yeah, he gave a share before, and he's giving one tonight, the second part. Is the your
Oh,
side of cook.
I see. All right.
But I think he's going to do it on Zoom also, right? I mean,
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Samech Hey, 65. We're in the middle of the Mishnah. Chatasa of Shemalko, Shaloli Shma. If you did the Chatasa of Shaloli Shma, Umitz Adam Chutz Izmano, so that's not going to create pigul because the Shaloli Shma ruins it. O Shamala Chutz Izmano, Umitz Adam Shaloli Shma. Or you combine the Malika of Chutz Izmano with the squeezing of the blood Shaloli Shma. O Shamala Umitz Adam Shaloli Shma, Zeu Shalo Karev Amater Kemitzvaso. That's an example where you have not completed applying the material in the way you're supposed to. Lechol kazais bachutz kazais lamocher. You combine eating it outside and tomorrow. or kazayis l'mocher, kazayis b'chutz, or kachatzi zayis b'chutz, kachatzi zayis l'mocher, half a kazayis outside and half a kazayis tomorrow, or kachatzi zayis l'mocher, kachatzi zayis b'chutz. Possible ve'in bo koris. So it doesn't create pigul, but it puzzles the korban. Armiyud is a klal. In machshavas azman kodma machshavas hamakom. He says differently than the Tanakhama, that if the chutz l'zmanu machshava occurred prior to the chutz l'makom, then it is pigul, the chayav and alav kares. In machshavas hamakom kodma machshavas azman pasul ve'ein bo kares. Then the chutz l'makom machshava becomes prominent. In each case, since there's a mixture, the chutz l'zmanu is not pure, and it's not, the rest of the stuff hasn't been done k'mitzvah, so you can never create pigul. It's certainly possible, but there's no kares. Lechol kachatzi zayus lahakti kachatzi zayus. If you had in mind to eat chatzi zayus or to burn kachatzi zayus, kosher. That does not create an invalidating machshava. She'ein achila v'aktar mitzdarpin. There's no addition between human eating and the mizbech eating. Period. Ton rabban. It says by the olas of v'hi krivo hakohen el hamizbech v'umolak es rosho v'hikter mizbecha. What's v'hi krivo matamodon? What is that coming? I don't need hikrivo. Why didn't you just say v'hi kriv? Lefi shenamar, it already starts up by saying v'imena of korbano v'hikriv minat torim mimnei ayunav. So we know what we're talking about. So I might have thought Yachol HaMisnadev Of Lo Yivchos B'Shnei Freidim. If you donate a bird, maybe you have to do at least two. Talmud Lemer V'Hikriva Afilu Freida Achas Yovi LaMizbech. You could bring even one bird. Then it said V'Hikrivo HaKohen El HaMizbech. Ma Talmud Lemer HaKohen. Likvo Lo Kohen. To tell you that only a Kohen can do the Malika, a non-Kohen cannot do it. Now, why would I have a Havamina that a non-Kohen can do it? Sheyachov alodinu. Because we had a Kavachoim. Uma ben soin, and all that you bring from a sheep. Shekavalot safon. You have to shecht a sheep in the north. Lo kavala Kohen. A non-Kohen can shecht it. Even Zar is kosher l'shchita. So off shelo kavalot safon, you can dispatch the bird anywhere in the Azor. It doesn't need the north. Ein odin shelo yikval a kohen. So I may think that even a non-kohen like a Zar could dispatch the bird. Talmud loymar ha kohen likvo lo kohen. Now, fine, you show me that a kohen, but yachol yimlakenu b'sakin. Maybe though the kohen should not use his finger to do malika, but rather should use a knife. And it's also kavachomer dinu. Umayim shchita shelo kavala kohen. Shchita does not require a kohen. It can be done even by a non-kohen. Kavala kli. You have to accept the blood in a, or no, you have to do the shchita with a kli, with a knife. Malika shekavala kohen. Malika, which the Torah said requires a kohen, ein odin sheyikvala kli. I would require a knife. Talmud lemer kohen umolak. That he does malika with his hand. Domer of Akiva, v'chitala al datzcha shezar karev l'gabi mizbeach. Why would I have a havamina when the pasuk says v'krivo kohen la mizbeach that a zar could go there? Elamat talmud lemer kohen shetei malika b'atzma shel kohen. That the kohen has to use his hand, not a knife. Yachol yim lekenu bein lamala bein lamata. I might think that you could do the malika of an olas ha'of above the line of the chut ha'sikra and below the line. Talmud loymar umolak v'hitir mizbecha. Ma haktor b'rosh ha'mizbeach. This is like when you burn the bird. It has to be done at the top of the mizbech. Af malika b'rosh ha'mizbech. So the malika has to be done above the line. Umolak mimul oiref. The malika has to be done in the back of the neck. Atar mimul oiref for an element at saver, maybe from the front of the neck. And again, it's vidinu, it's a kavachomer. Nemar kan, it says by an oila umolak. V'nemar lahan by chatasa oif, it says umolak es roishoy. Mimul orpo v'lo yavdil. You should do the malika from the back of the neck. So we compare chatas to an oila. Ma lahal mimul oiref, avkan mimul oiref. I ma lahal molak v'enu mavdil. By a chatas, you don't separate the head from the body. You leave the head connected to the body. Maybe avkan molak v'enu mavdil. So maybe by the olas ha'of, you don't separate the head. Talmud loymar umolak v'hiktir. Mahak Torah, when you burn the bird. Harosh la'atzma v'aguf la'atzma. It's both separate. Af malika harosh la'atzma v'aguf la'atzma. You have to separate the head from the body. Uminayin shak Torah harosh ba'atzma v'aguf. Where do you see by the burning of the ola that has to be the head by itself and the body by itself? Shenemar v'shisa oso biknafav. Divide by where the wings are. V'iktiros samizbech. Areak toras aguf amura. So that tells me the body has to be burnt. Hamanim ekim v'iktir mizbech. Baktoras harosha, because medaber is separate burning for the head. Now, the Brisa continues. V'nimtza damo. That you have to squeeze the blood in the bird kulo. El kira mizbech. Against the wall of mizbech. V'lo el kira kevesh. Not the wall of the ram. V'lo al kira heichel, not the wall of the heichel. Ve'ezeh kira elyon, the wall above the line. Oena el kira tachton, maybe you could do it below the line. And I would tell you it's a kavachomer dinu. Ma behema, by an animal, if it's a chatas islamala, you have to sprinkle the blood by the horn. And by an ola, the blood is sprinkled lamata. So maybe oaf, maybe by a bird, where it's just the opposite. Shechatasu lamata, there the chatas has to go below. Eino din shalosu lamata, maybe the oil also has to go below. Talmud loymar, umalak es rosha v'hiktir, v'nimtza damo. V'chisal al daska la'achar shehiktir choyzer mimotza. You can't be maktir something on the mizbeach before you do the hazos adam. Before you sprinkle the blood. Just like the eventual burning of the bird is on the top of the mizbeach, the squeezing of the blood against the wall has to be above the line, which is the wall close to the top of the mizbeach. How does it work practically? Haya ola bekevesh. You go up the ramp, you turn right on the walkway. You hit first the southeastern corner. You do malika. This is by the ola of its neck, from the back of its neck, and you separate the head from the body. You squeeze the blood that's in the bird right next to the wall that you're there. That you're standing on the sovev, and that's above the line. However, says the Brisa, if he bends down and does it even below the line, afilu amak sheira. From the Chem, Rav Elazar ben Yaakov, I mean, called atzma ain't nasis el brosham mizbeach. The preparation of the bird all of it has to be done above. So what's my binai? What's the yisod of the machlokas? Abayev Rabbi Damar Tervayu. Can you make a small grill on the walkway? According to Daf Doc, you can make in an emergency a little grill there. And then the mitzvah gets done, even if you do it below the sovev, you're near the grill. But Rav Nechemia says no. The grill is up on top. Therefore, the malik has to be up on top. Balo laguf. So they come to the body and they remove the pipik and the gargle and the crop. And you throw it to the Beis Hadesha. Ton Rabbanon. It says ve'isiris muraso benutzasa. Zu zafek. That's the pupik. Yachol yakdir besakin v'yitlanu. Maybe you remove the skin over it. No. Tamad lover benutzasa. Noitel sanutza, you take the skin too. Ima. Abi yosef bechan oimer. Noitel v'noitel kurkavana ima. You take even the pupik that's attached to it. Debei Rabbi Shmuel Tana benutzasa benutza shala. Just the nutza, not the kurkavan below. Koidra besakin, you cut it with a knife from the outside. Kimin aruba, like a boat. Shisa v'lo hivdil. Then you use your fingernail to divide the body, but you just make like an incision. You don't separate it into two pieces. Ton Rabbanon b'shisa ein shisa lebiyad. You do it with your finger. V'cheinu oimer vayishaseu keshes agdi mu'uma ein biyada. That's by Shimshon. Lo heiser samura. If you didn't remove it, we said the chatas is puzzle. Or if you were mavdil, you're not supposed to be mavdil by the chatas. If you're mavdil by the chatas, or you're not mavdil by the oila, we said it was puzzle. But masnisan delok Rav Eliezer Rav Shimon, the Tanya. I'm Rav Eliezer Rav Shimon. Shamati shemavdilim b'chatas sa'ov. He heard that you could be mavdil. My binayu. The mitzoi chatas sa'ov. The squeezing of the chatas sa'ov on the wall of the mizbeach after you do sprinkling. Ma'akev. That's by not doing it, does it ruin the korban or not? Tana kama sover mitzvah chatas of ma'akev. If you don't press the blood out, even by a chatas, it's ma'akev. V'kivan, and so therefore, after your mavdil, the head and the body, v'kivan mitzvah dam ka'ovid ma'isa oila b'chatas sa'oif. You end up doing an action like you normally do to an ola by a chatas sa'of, which is both division and squeezing, and that's puzzle. But from Lezer of Shimon Savar, mitzvah chatas sa'of lo ma'akev. If you don't do it, it's not ma'akev. So if you're mavdil, and therefore you end up not squeezing the blood, doesn't ruin the korban, and you didn't do a ma'isa oila, and that havdalah is only machatek basar b'alma. It's like cutting away some flesh. Rava Omar, even if both hold that if you don't squeeze the blood of the chatas sa'of, it's ma'akev, shehiyah b'shimon seini ba'ola sa'of ma'akev v'kibinayu. The nafkamina would be, you have two simonim, the esophagus and the trachea. And if there was delay before you incised the second simon by the ola sa'of, that's the nafkamina between the two shitas. The malik of the chatas is done when you cut first simon. You also cut with it the majority of the meat of the neck. So Tanakam is sover sheiya b'simin sheni ba'ola sof lo ma'akev. Delaying a significant amount of time before you cut the second simon, that doesn't possible. So when you're mavdil by the chatas ha'of, aval gav de shehiyah, even though there's delay when you do that in dividing the second simin, ka'ovid ma'isa oila b'chatas, you did a opposite maneuver. You remember, if you do an oila maneuver by a chatas, it puzzles. But for Lezer Reb Shimon Sofer ma'akev, that if there's delay between the simonim, it will puzzle. The kivan, so then, since you did the malika by the chatas, and you have to have, by doing that shehiyah, it's not a ma'isa oila, because if you did that, it would not be a ma'isa oila. And therefore, you're considered machatech basar ba'alma, you're just cutting away flesh, and therefore doesn't puzzle. Abaya Omar, different svara. Rav basar me'akev v'kibinayu. Whether or not cutting away the majority of the meat in the neck, does that puzzle the korban? What if you did not cut away the majority of the meat after you cut the first simon, which you're supposed to do by a chatas? According to the Tanakama, it's not ma'akev. So after you divided the first siman, it's not considered a delay if you cut away the Rav Basar. And not only that, you end up cutting the second siman right away. But that's a Maisa Oila by a Chatas, and that puzzles. But Rav Lezer Rav Shimon says that it is ma'akev. And therefore, there has to be a delay by a Chatas between one siman and the other. So even if he's mavdil, he doesn't do a Maisa Oila because that would puzzle by an Oila. So Rabba and Abaya are arguing beplukta the Rav Zeh Rav Shmuel Rav Yitzchak. One of these mandarim hold that delaying cutting the second siman by Noilas Oaf, that's the difference between Tanakama and Rav Lezer Rav Shimon. The Chadam Rav Basar Ma'akev Vikbinai. So the same Maichlokas that Abaya and Rava had, that these other Amiroim had as well. Comes out Michlal, the being Rav Basar Betchila, that means Lechatchila. Do you need to cut away the majority of the meat? Yeah, you do. Ivatanya, Ketzid Molkin Chatas Ov. How did you accomplish Malika by Chatas Ov? So you come with your fingernail behind the neck. Choytech Shedra, you divide the spinal cord. Umafrekes and the bones of the skeleton. Below Rav Basar, without the meat outside of it. Right in front of the spinal cord and the bone is the esophagus or the trachea. Because they're side by side in a bird. He reaches one of those. You cut one of those. Or rubo, 51%. And along with that, Rav Basar Imo, and the majority of the muscles of the neck. And by Ola, you have to cut Shnayim. You have to cut both Simonim or Rav Shnayim, or 51% of each. Period. Amrua Kamed Rav Yirmiyah. Lo Shmiu Lu Hadam Rav Shimon ben Elyokim Mishum Lezer Rav Pedas Mishum Rav Lezer Rav Shamua. Omer Ayin Lezer Rav Shimon. Shamati Mechates Ha'ov Shemavdil. That even though the Torah says you're not supposed to be mavdil, that you can get away with being mavdil by Chatas Ha'ov. And what does it mean, Milo Yavdil? What does the Torah mean when it says don't do it? It means ain't sarch lahavdil. You don't have to do it. The way you have to do boil is up. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to do it if it happens. Okay, stop here. So tomorrow we'll finish this parak and start the new parak as well.
At 7.
7 tomorrow.
Tonight, 7:30.
No, but 7 tomorrow.
Tonight, 7:30.
I understand.
Tomorrow will be 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Daf and 8 o'clock Turbo.
You know, Ernie, you should send out the Zoom number if you're going to do it on the Zoom because it's raining outside. Maybe some people want to listen to the.
Okay, I'll send it.
Send it out, but